Hey, creative people. I am super excited today. Again, I know I always say this, that I'm super excited because I always am. This is so much fun. I have the best job in the world. Today, my guest is Daysha Arnold. We met at Colorado Gold not this year, but the year before. And I'm going to introduce her. I'm just going to read her little part of her bio. She has such an interesting life. Looking at her, you'd think she's like, hasn't had time to do all this stuff. It's like, oh my God. So Daysha Arnold is an award-winning American novelist, freelance writer, mother, and 10-year Army veteran. She is the author of Apparent Power, Reactance, and Shifting Power, and a small collection called The Brightest Firefly. As a freelance writer, Daysha contributes monthly to the Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers blog, where she shares her relatively short experience in the literary world. She will never turn down an invitation to karaoke because she is here to party, but also be in bed by 8 p.m. That sounds like me. Daysha's pipe dream is to one day narrate an episode of Drunk History and tell the story of the unsinkable Molly Brown. Until then, her friends must suffer through unsolicited rehearsals. So I am happy to introduce to you Daysha Arnold.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for being here today.
Gary, for having me.
Yeah, so this is super fun. Let's talk about how we met first. So Daysha and I met at Colorado Gold, as I said, 2 years ago. I was teaching a fun class for me about my shift in thinking about marketing, which is called congratulations, you get to do marketing. As authors, a lot of us feel very put upon that we have to market, and it's not something that a lot of us are drawn to because, well, most of us are introverts and we just want to write books. So I met Daysha in the class, and Daysha, it wasn't really, there were some things you weren't really excited about that first class, if I remember correctly.
Oh man, so I'm sitting up front in the very front row, and I'm excited to learn everything that you're willing to dish out about marketing.
Right.
Only the class was about mindset.
Right.
So I am up there and understand that my background in the military, so we're constantly engaged. So I'm like, I've been engaged since I was 19 years old. Like, there's no resting. My mind is just constantly going. So like, people like my therapist and my friends are like, oh, you should meditate, you should. I'm like, no, what? And they're like, be quiet for like 15 minutes and think about nothing. And I'm like, you know what I'm going to think about for 15 minutes? I'm going to make a list of all the things that I got to do after this 15 minutes is over. Like, there's no resting. So I'm sitting in this class, and I think the one exercise that really like kind of cracked the door for me as far as mindset was concerned was having, like, you had us all close our eyes, and I swear I'm not going to name any names, but the person sitting next to me, like, snoring like out. Okay.
Really? They went off to sleep.
It was an early morning, but they were not awake.
So they needed a nap, clearly.
Yeah. So we closed our eyes and we envisioned like our audience. Like, we're in a party, we wake up and we open the door. I don't know what the prompting you use, but this is like how I imagined it in my head. So I woke up in my bed, and I'm in a happy, comfortable place, and I walk out the door, and my house, there's a balcony to my living room, and there's a party going on. So I walk around, I'm gonna go with the party, and then they're like, oh, and in this party, like, you see your target audience is one person. And so I found that person, and I'm like, let's chat, girlfriend. And then so I came out of this thing, and I'm like, you know, I have crazy dreams. Like, when I sleep, I have like these insane, very vivid, bizarre dreams. But if I can like take that time and that subconscious guided time to form an idea like that, then maybe this kind of meditation stuff is up my alley. But I didn't, like, not then. I didn't realize it then. I was very annoyed. And then, I was very annoyed that the class,
I'm a reader of people, and for those of you who are not looking at Daysha right now because you're listening to the listening to the listening version here, she has a very expressive face, as do I. So I was possibly aware that it was not her favorite moment of the day.
But I stuck it out, and I'm glad I did. And I didn't know that I was glad I did. But then we had dinner together.
Yeah.
Not that night, it was like the next night. And we were talking about personality types. And I'm an INFJ. And I talked about how I judge people. And I judge everyone, but not to hold it against them, to measure how I can relate to that person.
Sure, absolutely.
And you are what a
INFP. I'm an INFP.
Yeah, you're perceptive, and you're like, and I can tell you're judging people. Sorry.
So this is how we met. This year, when I was coming to conference, Daysha messaged me and said, I need to give you a hug when I see you and tell you what's been happening for me. So let's talk about we want to talk about your books, but how you're bringing that creative energy into your marketing now, because I think that's really awesome what you're doing.
The craziest thing is I decided this year I was going to write a memoir. And the thing about memoirs is if you don't remember your childhood or your early life, it's hard to write.
It would be.
Yeah. So working through psychologies and things like that, of like things I went through, of course, the military, and people will argue that they brainwash you or whatever. So I did adopt meditation and self-reflection, mindfulness, being in the moment. I have 2 small kids. Like, I don't know how I have time to write all these books. But my kids are 2 and 6, 3. She's 3 now. 3 and 6. And
it's funny that's how it's hard when they up a year to like actually get your mind around that, right?
Yeah, her birthday was like less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And she, like, I used to say she's 2 going on too many, and now I can't. She's 3. Now she's just 3. So I've taken a look at all these psychologies. There was a few other classes that I took in Colorado Gold that really drew on personal experience and things. So I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot, and a lot of it makes its way into my writing, and it might not be the actual circumstance, but it'll be the feelings. It'll be the physical manifestation of stress. And I would not have ever thought to incorporate those things into my writing without taking a moment and pausing and listening to myself, really, instead of just constantly being on the go. Marketing, it's really crazy because I was so upset, frustrated. These aren't good words. I wanted a marketing class last year and I didn't get it. So I decided this year I would teach it. So you taught 4 hours last year, which inspired me to teach 4 hours this year. And it went very well. I've only been published a year, like barely a year. But I have tried.
Somehow I don't doubt that at all. I don't at all, because you have so much energy. So your first book was Apparent Power, correct? And that came out last
December. So I signed my book to Immortal Works Press, and it was contracted to come out December of 2018. Well, in my never-ending efforts of marketing, I wrote another book to market that book.
Okay.
And that one came out, I want to say last August. And so Reactance is so I'm rebranding. Reactance is now book 2 of the series.
Okay.
But it came out before book 1. It doesn't matter what order you read it.
It doesn't matter. So, and it's a novella, right? Reactance is
a novella.
And so, and that was one of your marketing tools, to have a novella that you could bring people into your world.
Exactly. And it highlights, so I write dystopian science fiction, and Reactance has a young adult main character, but my series is actually an adult series. Not that there's like any kind of lewd scenes or there's hardly any cussing even. So, but it was just to bridge that gap between like the popularity of Hunger Games and Divergent and everything. So that novella brought in that YA, the young adult fans into my world.
Right. And so you're rebranding. So you have brand new covers, which you people have not seen yet. Although if you're watching on video, I'm going to put a pic up here in just a minute and show you, because Daysha's face when she told me about the covers was just like, it's so exciting, isn't it? They're beautiful.
So with the new cover, so my book came out December of 2018 after 2 months. With just general disputes with my contract and things. I actually got the rights back to my book.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, it was great. Like, I love working with them. They're good people. So I was able to get my cover art, my editing, everything. And so here we are 6 months later, I guess, from the time I released my own books. Like, I released it myself, and I'm rebranding the entire series. So now I have new covers that nobody has seen.
I know, how fun. And I have, and we're going to actually share them with you guys because you're lucky, coming up right about now. So super cool and awesome, right? I love the way that they show very clearly that they're part of the same series.
Oh yeah, like to be consistent was key. When I left my publisher, I had to get a new cover artist, and nothing was really meshing with the original cover. So I was like, I'm going to take this cover and I'm going to make it like to market. So it's going to look like every other dystopian novel, so that when people are looking for it, it looks familiar to them. They'll pick it up.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it definitely does make that point. I think, I wanted to go back a little bit to the whole creative energy that really was my point in mindset, is if we can bring that to our marketing the same way that we bring it to our writing, instead of having it be a drudgery that we must perform, in which case, how fun. That's not fun for us or for readers, right? But if we can come to it with energy and enthusiasm and creative questions, then it turns into a whole different program.
And it's very rare that you'll find a creative in any field, an artist, a poet, a musician, that only dabbles in one art. So for me, if I get stuck in writing, or if I get burnt out of writing, because it happens, I'll pick up something. I don't have them right next to me. I paint. My kids ask me to make little characters out of clay.
Oh, that's so fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And like, I do this with marketing as well. So I will, like I said, my mind's always going. And somebody said, this is a quote, and I think it's Liz Gilbert, and she says, bad writers plagiarize, but good writers borrow. So I'll go on like social media and I'll be like, oh, they're doing this to market their new book, and that's a great idea, and I can totally apply this. Or like somebody had a 12 Days of Christmas, and I'm like, yes, that is a great idea, I'm gonna apply it. And it's things like that. I'm just constantly absorbing the media around me. But also, there's a turnaround to this. When I'm searching for something specific and I cannot find it, then I have to go and pave this road myself. I will go back and tell everyone how to do it, because I couldn't find it, so I know it needs to exist.
Well,
so
like the marketing class that you taught, the marketing class that you wanted did not exist, and therefore you created it and taught it.
Exactly. But there's so like nobody told me how to get a signing in Barnes & Noble. And there were no step-by-step articles on how to do this. And so I had to, I just asked. And I have followed like this step-by-step, like first I do this, and now I have to do this, and then you follow up. And then I like wrote it out, and I'm like, here, world. And then it was picked up by quite a few people, that article was. So that was really cool.
Right, that's great. Yeah, saving everybody time and trouble with having to do that. I have to go back to drunk history.
my goodness. So have you watched the making of Drunk History?
I have seen, not the making of, I've seen some Drunk History, and really honestly, what I have to tell you is what I took away from that is I really want to see drunk author readings as a podcast video series.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Oh, I can't even. That would be hilarious.
Good.
Oh my goodness. And even just, and then, yeah. So we're gonna write this down. Okay. I'm gonna keep this.
You can go for that one if you want. You can have that. I'm giving it to you.
Oh my goodness, that is a great idea. We'll revisit this, Gary.
It reminds me of, so now I have to tell you this. We did oh dear, can I actually talk about this? I think I can. I will not say any particular spaces. So I was employed once upon a time where we were implementing a program where we were going to have a service for alcoholic detox for people to come in when they were drunk to be safe overnight. So it was locked, and there had to be a procedure, and we needed to test the procedure and make sure that it worked. So we actually got one of my coworkers very, very drunk after hours and went through the whole process with him and found where the places were that it really wasn't going to work. Because yeah, and it was hilarious because we all knew each other, and yeah.
Oh
So,
my goodness,
that was one of those stories I never thought I would share out.
Oh man, flashbacks. I get those sometimes. Actually, so I worked in the military. I was a medic for 10 years, and I worked in Baghdad ER. And now I still work in an ER, but I just do paperwork for like people who have colds and things, and it's not too exciting or stressful. But there are certain things throughout my day that'll be like, oh man, that totally reminds me of this time, and blood and blah blah blah, and yeah, totally. That's a lot of fun. That I'm like, oh, I never thought I'd tell that story. But now it's my job to like tell.
Well, right. And now, and you have all of this wonderful, it's not wonderful. Some of it I'm sure was absolutely horrific, actually.
Like the best, worst time of your life.
Deep experience. You have some very, very deep and profound experiences from which to draw when you're writing books. And I feel that those authors who are willing to dip into that pool write the best books, and often because it's very real. It brings up those emotions and those situations that are places that we've journeyed through that are very difficult, and then when we take our characters through those places, that there's healing there for us and actually for our readers as well, I've found.
Yeah, it's really difficult, and some people can do it and others shouldn't do it.
Right. I wouldn't argue that. Depending on what it is, there are some places you should not go. Exactly, I agree.
Yeah, and it's like it's not about not being resilient, but having worked through it before. Trying.
Right.
So it's all about knowing where to file those. I was going to use the S word, crappy times. It's about knowing where to file these things in your brain. That way they're not always there.
Right.
Like
right.
making.
And you don't want to bring them up if. Right. Exactly. Agreed. So knowing your own limits is also very good. Therapist is a good idea for some of us, for sure.
So something exciting that I completely forgot to tell you about is so I am dabbling a little in nonfiction. When I was at Denver Pop Culture Con this year, there was a gentleman who had a magazine, a graphic, it's like a comic book, but it's nonfiction, and it's called Full Mag, or Veterans Magazine, and it has real life stories from people at war, starting at like in World War II and then like to the wars now, and it was told comic book style, so like professionally, very artistic. And then I was invited to contribute to volume 3, and so that should be coming out hopefully next year. And I
how fun. So how does that work? Does somebody draw the pictures for you, or you're an artist? Or are you doing your own art? How's that? No.
So like he'll interview the veterans and he'll take down the story in a way that translates to that type of storytelling, and then he has professional like Marvel, like Marvel DC
Okay.
comic book artists that contribute the artwork to the magazine.
Wow. Wow. That
Yep.
is really cool. That's awesome. That's so
Yeah.
exciting. So back to your books, because we want to make sure we talk about them. So Shifting Power is the new one, right? So when is that going to be available for readers?
So that it's a huge secret. It's available on pre-order right now. It actually is released for sale November 5th.
November 5th, which is no longer a secret then.
That's not a secret. The secret is it's already on pre-order. It's supposed to go on pre-order in 6 days.
Oh, but it's already out there.
It's already up because I have no patience. Like I have to make sure everything is ready.
Well, sure.
And then I forgot what. And I'm signing. So instead of last year for my debut novel, I had this huge like in-person party, but this year I'm doing a group signing at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. It's the setting for The Shining, and and that's on November 9th. So.
On November 9th. What time?
Oh.
Don't know yet. Okay. So follow Daysha on her blog. It's just dayshamarnold.com, and I will put a link up for those of you who can see the video. dayshamarnold.com, and you're on Facebook. Do you have an author page on Facebook, Daysha?
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all Daysha M. Arnold.
So, and it's Daysha M. Arnold on everywhere, and that's DACIAMARNOLD, just to make sure you find it right. Daysha is spelled DACIA. So look her up, because you do want to have a look at these awesome books. And if you live in Colorado, in Denver, you want to go to this signing at the
Stanley Hotel.
Stanley Hotel. Very cool. I'm feeling like I should know where that is, because I do some I always wanted to have a party with one of my paranormal novels that was in like a haunted kind of hotel, but where The Shining was filmed would be like perfect.
Yeah.
I may need to make a little trip. So anyway, thank you so much for coming. While I have all of you here, I'm also going to, do a little plug for my books.
Love that cover, Carrie. Oh.
Most recent, Everything You Are is currently a Prime Reads pick for September and goes live October 1st. So you can look up a copy of that as well. That's it for us. I am going to say, as I always do, now it's your turn to go do something creative, and we are going to go probably do some writing and get on with some stuff. So thanks for watching and listening. Bye.